I've always been finicky about the Fat Strat setup, but I've always wanted to like them. It seems like an objectively great idea, and I think I finally found a solution to the one thing that always bothered me about them. Hey everyone, I'm Jack Fossett, and welcome to this feature on kind of an idea for how to go about doing an HSS setup. Now, I do want to mention this is sponsored by Righteous Sound Pickups, and I do want to thank them for being involved in this. This features their High Road and Ella set. So what we've got is we've got two High Road single coil pickups for the neck and the middle position, and then the new Ella humbucker. Now, the thing that has always irked me about the HSS setup, first of all, it does seem like it should objectively be one of the best possible guitar setups, right? People love the single coil neck tone. They love that clear, piercing, but kind of cool neck tone. But people tend to like the fatter, more punchy and aggressive bridge tone of a humbucker. So this is one way of kind of trying to create the perfect electric guitar, right? The guitar that sort of does everything where you want it to. A couple of problems with that. One is that it sort of dismisses the good tones that you can get from the standard pickups that these other guitars do, right? You know, like a Les Paul neck pickup, if it's done right, sounds awesome. Stratocaster bridge pickup, if it's done right, sounds awesome. And it also, and this is where it's kind of going down the path that I'm thinking, one of the things that's always irked me, we're kind of getting there, is you lose the character of the guitar. A bridge humbucker doesn't sound like a Stratocaster. A neck single coil doesn't sound like a Les Paul. So no matter how you set up a Fat Strat or a Les Paul, if it's got some kind of a other humbucking guitar that has a single coil in the neck, it's not going to be the other thing that it's not. It might get a cool tone, but a Stratocaster with a humbucker is never going to be a Les Paul. And that leads me to the thing that's always bothered me about them that I've never quite been able to figure out, and it has to do with tonal balance. I've played a lot of great Fat Strats. Now, one of the things about the Fat Strat that I really sort of feel a personal connection to is that that's what my first electric guitar was. My first electric guitar was a Squire Affinity Fat Strat. And so I kind of felt like, this is something that I'm as familiar with as you can possibly be, having been the first real electric tone that I ever attempted to use. But all the HSS Stratocasters that I've played, one of the things that I always struggled with is when you flip up to that bridge pickup, it doesn't seem like it fits the rest of the guitar. It might be a great tone, but it all of a sudden is like I'm playing a different guitar. Now, I do want to mention, this is admittedly nitpicky, finicky, very, very guitar centric, very, from the lens of a guitar player. Because honestly, this is one of those situations where does the audience care? Probably not. The audience cares that they hear a nice sound and good music. That's pretty much what they want to hear. That being said, it is something that psychologically affects me, and so I think if it's psychologically kind of bothering me and I can't fully get comfortable, then I'm not going to play my best. So, that being a palpable reality, I do also admit that this is something that it's like, okay, well, what do we need to do here? What I wanted to do was I wanted to find a way to make that bridge pickup balance, and there are two things that I've done with this guitar. First of all, I did reach out to Righteous Sound Pickups. I kind of told them what I was thinking because we've worked together a bunch before. I love Josh's pickups. He just a great company, and so I said, hey, would you have any interest in collaborating on this idea? So it did come from me. Nobody said, hey, take these pickups and do a feature video. It wasn't like that. But I said, I want to find an HSS setup that will balance well, that sounds like one unified guitar. So the high road pickups are higher output Stratocaster pickups. And then the Ella is a modern take on a PAF. It's he says vintage voice, but with modern parts. It has Alnico 6 magnets, and then the high road set has Alnico 5 magnets. What's interesting about that is that they're not just like a super gainy or like overly powerful Strat pickup set. They're just kind of a little more aggressive and a little higher output. And that set, particularly on the bridge you mentioned, almost gets to like P90 tones. So now you're already talking about kind of blurring the lines between pickup styles. So having the higher output single coils makes a difference, and then having the modern but vintage voiced humbucker makes a difference. And then the last thing to do that makes a difference, and this is something that I have also been very, very finicky about, to the point where I've openly mocked it at times, so feel free to throw this in my face if you want to, was to add a coil splitting switch. Now, I don't like push-pull pods, so I went with a switch instead. I think it's easier, and it doesn't look all kind of like weird with your guitar when it's activated. That way, I can then take the Ella and turn it into a single coil and basically have a Stratocaster set up in the regular way. And this pickup does work really well for it. Again, with the Alnico 6 magnets, kind of gives it a little bit more punch and a little bit more aggression, which makes it balance out well with the others, considering the pickups basically being split in half. But then in humbucker mode, again, with that kind of warm vintage voice, it really balances well with the other pickups. Now, I also went with Bourne's 250K pots in this, and paper and oil capacitor, which was also provided by Righteous Sound Pickups that he sends with his sets of pickups. So this to me is the way to make a Fat Strat work. It's to use higher output single coils with a nice kind of vintage voice but clear humbucker that can also be coil split. This is the way to make it work. Because like I said, I've played plenty of Fat Strats and many of them sounded great, but the pickups just didn't balance well with each other. It might have been an awesome bridge tone, or it might have been an awesome neck, middle, whatever tone, but then as soon as you kind of flip back and forth, it was almost like you're playing a different guitar, and I just couldn't get into them because of that. Now, what's cool about this setup is also the bridge middle tone, which many Strat players absolutely love, the kind of quacky bridge middle tone, is still there, and you get two different shades of it because splitting the humbucker, if you split the humbucker, you get the classic bridge middle tone, but if you have the humbucker fully active, you get a fatter bridge middle tone. So you get two different types of that bridge middle tone, which really work. So what I want to do now is I want to play, and rather than going through a bunch of different pickup settings and kind of playing them each, I'm going to give you kind of a couple of big samples here, clean and overdriven, where I'm going to keep flipping back and forth and letting you know which pickup I'm on in case you can't see exactly where the switch is. But just to show you how if you're kind of switching pickups on the fly and going for different tones all at once, you'll hear how they balance well and how it really, at least to me, sounds like one nicely unified guitar and a set of pickups that really work well together. So today I'm playing into my Henry Amps SRT Plus, and for the overdriven tones you are hearing a Wampler Moxie. Please let us know, what do you think of this basic idea for a Fat Strat setup? Do you not have a problem with the Fat Strat the way that they are? Do you just generally hate them and you don't even want to approach it? Whatever your story is, let us know in the comments. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.